Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon if you want to be notified of any future shows. Feel free to leave comments down below, and please smash that thumbs up. It helps the show out. Good evening, folks. Hold on just a second while I turn my light on. Hey, good evening, folks. How's everybody doing tonight? Oh, there's nobody here. Oh, wait a minute for people to come in here. I can't see the chat. Well, I can if I look up there. Well, yeah, I can see it. If y'all say hello, I'll see you. Well, I'll tell you what. I've been looking around all day for, like, I don't know, Bigfoot news, see if there's anything new out there. It's really the same old, same old. A lot of fake stuff. A lot of people reposting old stuff. Hey, Ruptured Duck. Only 4 people. Maybe I started it too early tonight. Well, tell me, what are you pestering me for now? Go on, go lay down. Go. Go lay down. Go on. You'll have to wait. So, what is this? Is this one of those where a guy just reads? Yeah. So, people, this is just a hangout. If you got something to say, go ahead and you want to discuss or whatever, questions. If you've seen something that you want to share with everybody. Oh, let me open my Discord. So if anyone wants to hop into Discord, you can hop in there and we can talk instead of typing. Well, that's interesting. I don't know that it's Bigfoot related, but I want to have a look at this. Oh, what is this? Oh, good. I was wondering. I was waiting for her to email me, and she didn't email me. She posted it in Discord. I'll have a look at those here in a second. Let's see what this is. Okay, I'll look at that later, I guess. Might be interesting. All right, Mona. Oh, that was Mona, not Kara. Yeah, Mona. Waiting for Kara to send her recordings and stuff. Why won't this go in that? There it goes. Oh, this is that crazy guy. This is that dog trainer. Oh my god. Yeah, I kind of want to watch the rest just because this guy's just, it's how crazy he is. I can't figure out if he's crazy. If he really believes what he's saying, well, that can't be, because I can tell he's making this crap. So, you know, if he really believes he's fooling anybody with, I mean, that obviously that's just a very poorly made stuffed doll. Holy smokes. Okay, let's see what else. Let's see what else Mona sent us several things here. What is this? Mona, are you in here? Five years. Yeah, I think I might have started too early. Let's see here. What is this one? Again, people, this is just a hangout. Keep people, well, y'all keep me company, you know, since we're all sequestered, or what is it? Quarantined in our houses and stuff. Ah. She sent pictures of dogs that look like that thing I saw in my backyard. This one's actually pretty good. Here, I'll put this up for y'all. See how the face just kind of appears in the middle of the fur? That's kind of how that thing looked. Tibetan Mastiff. Yeah, except the fur on the one I saw. Well, this is kind of. You see how it looks like it has a mane up to the back of its front shoulders, and then the fur is shorter. That's the way the thing I saw in the yard was. Except its hind quarters were like half that high. That was the weirdest thing. I thought it was a dog or a wolf, right? Until it turned sideways. And it was like a hyena. Its hind legs were a lot shorter than its front legs. I guess it could have just been a what do you call it? Birth defect, maybe. No, maybe it was just a dog with a birth defect. But its body was longer too, more like a dachshund. You know, in relation to its size. What else does she send here? Oh, more. Yeah, his face wasn't all like scrunched up like that, though. It was just like a regular dog sticking out. I thought we'd go through, and I'm going to go over Reddit and see if we can find anything interesting on there. Sometimes people post some interesting stuff on there, but these are all like the same link. What's going on with my browser now? Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just a their network's overloaded or something. I'm assuming that's an internet connection, but I don't know. Oh, shoot! I can't see it. Hey, Amy. Not very many people watching tonight. Looks like there's only 2 people other than us. So, anybody hear anything interesting? I'm gonna check Reddit real quick and see if there's anything interesting there to. But see, it's a bunch of horse shit. I mean, come on. Let me show you something. I mean, this is what I mean. I don't like to do shows about crap. I don't like to do shows about the same crap everybody else does. I mean, I have because I felt forced to at times, especially when I had somebody give me crap about it. But I mean, what is this? This is the Bigfoot subreddit. This is under hot. All right, fire department put what out? Let's see. Oh, it's a picture of Bigfoot. I guess it has to do with the quarantine. They just used a silhouette of Bigfoot. Oh, you know. Now this is Bigfoot. Fun van. Okay, what, they got a picture of Bigfoot on the side, maybe? Yeah, okay, yeah. Let's see, well, yeah, let's look at Sasquatch attacks, see what's under there. Let me turn my, well, let me put the other chat in here instead. All right, just so I can see. If you'll type anything in. All right, this is Sasquatch attacks on Reddit. Documentary film on Manure Monster. Is that the same one as somebody reposting it? Well, there's what's her face. Oh, what is her name? Her name escapes me all the time. She used to be on Sasquatch Chronicles, and she started Into the Fray. I guess now she's running around with Seth Breedlove. This is just the same old crap. How long ago was that he did that? Years ago? I am unmuted in it. Yeah, okay. Oh shoot, I guess I need to, forgot to put myself in the campfire so I could hear if anyone joins. There we go. Sasquatch attacks. What's with this picture? Oh, pretty geeky. I guess that's because this is a geeky subject. Alright, Sasquatch takes a sip. Let's see what this is. I'm gonna mute that in case that's a copyright thing. Okay, I don't know why that's under Sasquatch attacks. Reports of Dogman in Lincolnshire. I'm just skimming through it to see if it's worth even talking about. Terrified locals hiding nearby called out to him to run, saying a huge wolf with glowing eyes had chased off the previous guard. Well, it's an interesting break. Looks like it's high enough to be a Bigfoot. The legend is described as 7-foot tall, blue or amber-eyed canine-like animal with the torso of a man and a fearsome howl. The first reported sighting of the dogman in North America came in 1887. Been multiple accounts since then. Paranormal believers had a field day in 2018 when a mysterious creature was shot dead in the forest in Montana, puzzling scientists who couldn't work out what species it was. That's a dire wolf. The hell? Pretty sure that's a dire wolf. Experts said its ears were too large and its legs and torso too short for it to be a wolf. They're common in North America. Wolves have roamed. It doesn't look like it has short legs. Unless the back legs are short, then it would be like the thing I saw in my yard, kinda, except it doesn't have the mane. What does it say about the ears? Ears were too large. Those don't look very large to me. I mean, maybe this is just a picture somebody picked. It's not the actual thing. Yeah, ruptured duck. I'm sure the Bigfoot are aware of the virus, right? What is this now? Deer legs on the A18 near Humberside Airport. Have you ever seen the footage of the motorcycle rider who he got hit by a semi and he kind of got wrapped and he spun around the tire a couple of times and it just sliced him up? It looks like he was butchered on the side of the road. That could be what this is. I mean, it's in the road, so could have been a deer got hit by a semi. I think it was the I don't know what part of the semi it was, but like a fender kind of thing where it just sliced them. Because, I mean, they showed close-ups of this guy, and it was clean, like surgical slicing of this guy. He was just cut all the. You couldn't even tell it was a guy. It just looked like chunks of meat. A wolf-like creature that was seen racing between lanes at rush hour. Motorists stared with utter disbelief as the 3-foot-long beast, 3 foot long, described as grayish black, racing between lanes, skillfully dodging cars before leaping for cover in nearby trees. Why would you call a 3 foot long? Why would you call it a 3 foot long beast? I think my dog's longer than 3 foot. There's evidence of other phenomena in Lincolnshire, a realm of supernatural co-hosts, whatever. If the deer was hit by a truck, well, that's true. Yeah. Although now that I think about it, the guy who got hit on the freeway, it got all sliced up. There wasn't any blood either. It was just meat. Although he probably got hit, the blood was probably on the road back where he was hit, because he was like tangled in the tires for a while, and then he's like pieces of them fell off as the truck went, continued down the road before it finally stopped. So yeah, you have one there, one there. Well, I don't see anything else, so you would think there would be more of the deer there. Huh. Hey, Mike. I don't have anything in particular to talk about. This is just about a hangout, I guess. Got anything to bring up, go ahead and throw it out there. If you want to look at anything, share it with everybody. This thing looks like a dire wolf to me. I mean, it looks like a pretty good size canine. I don't know why they're saying its legs are too small to be a wolf. Okay, so anyway, let's see here. How did I end up here? Sasquatch attack. This is the PC version. What the hell does that mean? How do I change so I'm not in the PC version? Submit a PC Sasquatch link post. Yeah, see, that's what I mean. Is look, heading out on a midnight Sasquatch op, and it's just like looks like a still frame from like Counter-Strike or something. It's the same crap every time I go looking for something interesting. All I find is crap. There's this exploring legends of Bigfoot. Isn't every day probably provides a setting for a movie. Oh. Yeah. Not interested. Bigfoot legends. What is, and I don't, what does this have to do with it? Some dude being questioned for having a cache of weapons. What does that have to do with Sasquatch? Ah, that's funny. Frogman. I made that up last night, and here it is. Bigfoot, Grassman, and Frogman. Then somebody posts guest speaking at local Girl Scout troop. Under Sasquatch attacks. Why is that in there? I don't know. Maybe I just don't understand how Reddit works, because every time I've ever been in here, I'm like, why does anyone ever even use this damn thing? Here's a look at Ohio's weirdest monsters. Loveland Frogman. When you're riding in the Loveland bike trail, be careful of a large bipedal frog. Oh, no. We have frogs that walk around like humans. I'm telling you, man. I was making that crap up last night to be funny, and oh, here it is. Evidently, somebody already thought of it first. Bigfoot, human, animal, or legend. Say guest speaking at local Girl Scout troop. Why is that in here? What in the hell? Well, that right there would be a human in a very crappy fursuit. Bigfoot conference, aliens and Bigfoot. Salt Lake Fort or Salt Fork sighting attack. Fake. 15 stories of Bigfoot abductions. There's a 70,000-year-old Neanderthal discovery. Shows they likely buried their dead. I'm going to go back to that 15 stories, but I just wanted to see what this is real quick. Thought that picture might be more interesting than that. Research looks at an articulated Neanderthal skeleton that was recently unearthed in Iraq. First such skeleton found in more than 20 years. Known as Shanidar Z. Neanderthal was likely deliberately buried, according to experts. Clumps of ancient pollen were also found, suggesting flowers were also part of the burial ritual. Research, so much research on how Neanderthals treated their dead has involved returning to finds from 6 or even 100 years ago, or 60 or even 100 years ago, when archaeologists' techniques were more limited, and that only ever gets you so far, said the study. Some of the oldest Neanderthal bones have been tested, DNA tested, showing more than 70 differences. Famous Neanderthal say explore everything, ancient DNA, long-held questions. Whatever. All right. That seems pretty boring. 15 stories of Bigfoot abductions. That's a guy in a suit. This is undetermined. For years, paranormal researchers in the world at large have been captivated by eerie tales of a large ape-like entity that appears in remote areas of the world, variously called Sasquatch, Yeti, or the Abominable Snowman. The giant creature sometimes seen stalking across the northern mountains of the Himalayas or the forests of the Pacific Northwest, among other areas of the world, has proven an enigma to many. The problem with the Yeti debate, however, is that the creature leaves no evidence of living on the continents it is seen on. Although footprints are sometimes discovered in areas where the being is sighted, there's also an equally puzzling amount of evidence to support Sasquatch's ongoing habitation of regions of the world. Some primate lives in the areas of the world where, for example, are the remains of his ancestors. Scientists often doubt the claims of Sasquatch because no bone record has ever been found of the mysterious creature. For others, this mystery only intensifies the exotic nature of Bigfoot's secrecy in existence. Well, why aren't they finding bones of humans? Why do they have to go looking for Neanderthals? You know, every so many years, all of a sudden we hear these, news comes out. So, oh yeah, scientists on a dig in Africa discovered the bones of a previously unknown hominid species. Well, why was it previously unknown? Because there were no bones in the record, right? I don't know why they keep saying that stuff. While some shamans of the world report that Sasquatch is a magical, sacred entity from another world, a lesser known fact is that some researchers also report a darker side of Sasquatch sightings. This belief is based on a series of reported bizarre or abnormal kidnappings by Sasquatch, some of which date back to the 1800s. Here's a look at some of those scary and sometimes unpleasant encounters with a legendary creature called Bigfoot. This might be interesting. Let's see. A captured Indian woman. One of the oldest accounts we have of Sasquatch stems from an account dating back to 1871 near Harrison Lake in Port Douglas. The story narrates how a young American Indian woman, then 17 years old, was taken from her tribal homestead near the lake and kept in a secret hiding place by the Sasquatch for a year. The girl later reported that she was returned to her home by the creature due to the fact that she had aggravated it so much. Oh, that's hilarious. With her pleadings and demands. While the story is believed to have been embellished in a lot of ways, some accounts of this tale say that the girl had a half-breed child by her Sasquatch kidnapper. The woman held true to her story about the Sasquatch until her death in 1940. So basically, the Sasquatch kidnapped her and then took her back because she was too big of a nag. Oh, sorry. That just struck me funny. Aggravated it so much. Well, that's probably a PC way of saying it. The case of, did I just lose everybody when I said that? Oh, I still have 9. Let's see if it stays 9. Oh my God, that's funny. She annoyed it too much. She irritated the hell out of the Bigfoot. So he said, I'm done with you, woman. You got to go. You got to go. Case of, who's this? Franny. Yeah, hi, Franny. She gots to go. She's too much of a pain in the butt. In 1928, not long after the Osman incident, for those of you who don't know, Albert Osman scooped up in his sleeping bag and ended up, I think, for a week with a family of Bigfoot. You know, that's the story, the Osman incident. Muckalot Harry Mooch a lot. He was quite the mooch. They actually named him Mooch-a-Lot Harry. A trapper on the west coast of Vancouver Island also similarly reported being kidnapped by a Sasquatch and taken 3 miles up the Concuma River. Like Osterman, Mooch-a-Lot was dreaming peacefully at the time of the kidnapping when he was awoken by the sound of something jostling and lifting him off the ground. Terrified, Mooch-a-Lot said that he tried desperately but unsuccessfully free himself from the powerful creature that was easily carrying him upstream. Later, the trapper found himself in a camp of 20 or so Sasquatch. You're losing me there. You completely lost credibility when you said 20. With bones littered all over the ground around him. Oh, this sounds like he's spinning a yarn. At which point he panicked and ran back downstream to his canoe. So evidently he can run faster than the Bigfoot. At 3 a.m. the following morning, a Catholic missionary found the frightened trapper who had paddled 45 miles nonstop to a local village where the native indigenous Nukta tribes lived. According to later reports, Mooch-a-Lot never returned to the woods in Vancouver ever again. So, a camp of 20 or so Sasquatch. Bones all over the place, so evidently he was on the menu. At which point he panicked. Now, he couldn't get away from the Bigfoot, so I guess it put him down. Panicked and ran back downstream to his canoe. Now, let's go back here. I'm pretty sure it said it carried him for some distance. Let's see, desperately unsuccessful, powerful creature usually carried him upstream. Oh, it didn't say. Okay. So, I guess it was only a couple of 100 yards away or something, because if he ran away back to his canoe, and the Bigfoot picked him up and brought him back for dinner. But then when he ran away, I guess he said, let him go. Got to his canoe. All right. So he was now back it up again. Mooch-a-Lot was dreaming peacefully at the time of the kidnapping when he was awoken by the sound of something jostling and lifting him off the ground. And then he got to his canoe at 3 a.m. the following morning. So within hours, evidently he was asleep, so it was nighttime, right? At 3 a.m. the following morning, a Catholic missionary found the frightened trapper who had paddled 45 miles nonstop. 45 miles. I guess if he was in a rapids, maybe? I think it would be pretty difficult to paddle 45 miles in what? Let's say, even if it's fall, you're talking 3 a.m. at bed, and he was sleeping, so you figure, 6 hours? So it took him 6 hours to paddle 45 miles. I mean, I've never paddled a canoe, but I'm pretty sure 45 miles. What would that be per hour if it was 6 hours? That would be, all right, let's say 5 to 10 miles an hour, right? Maybe 7 miles an hour. 6, 7's 45. Yeah, right. 7 miles an hour. So he would have to be paddling faster than somebody can run. Am I right there? Or jog anyway. Hey, Donnie C. Yeah, I'm not buying that one. I think this guy was telling a story. The mating pit story. Mating pit. That's an interesting Bigfoot. Look, he's got quite the schnoz on him. Let's see. Thus far, the stories about Sasquatch have not included any descriptions of sexual molestation and rape by the legendary creature. 15 miles a day. Yeah, this guy paddled 45 miles in a few hours. I'm not buying it. But there remains an actual strange body of evidence in existence about Bigfoot engaging in sexual acts that are not at the choice of those it encounters. Interesting. I like the way he worded that. Not at the choice of those it encounters. One such story was told by John Lewis, whose grandfather worked for the Southern Pacific Railroad during the early 1900s. According to Lewis, his grandmother had told him that while working in the railroad business, her husband was building a rail track with a crew of men. During this time, one of the men in the rail crew was lost during a regular day's course of work. When the crewman was found, he appeared to be insane and hysterical. Shortly after telling this story, the man died. He told of a female ape that had kept him in a pit somewhere nearby. The ape had forced him to have sexual contacts with him. The ape had forced him to have sexual contacts with him, the man had said. I think that might be supposed to be a her in there somewhere. I think I've heard something similar to that before. I mean, like the same story, but not quite. It was, I think, the guy, he disappeared for a week or something. And then he came back saying that the Bigfoot had grabbed him and took him and made him service the Bigfoot or whatever. Strange Tale of Albatross. Well, we can kind of skip this one. The Squatch carried him for 3 hours, Osmond reported, after which he found himself, let's see, with 3 adults and a child. That's not, because I've read the original story. It's not. It's 2 adults and 2, not child, but 2 like adolescents, a male and a female. That's what the original story actually says. One of the adults was 8 feet tall, the woodsman reported. Osman went public with his story in 19 sightings. Became more commonplace. Okay. The mountain monster. He's just running away with the big buck. Okay. I'm just a country girl, but I know what I saw. That's what the mother of a young boy told the media and police back in 1976 when she saw a Sasquatch try to abduct her son. The Sasquatch was described as 8 feet tall, and it was said by witnesses to scream at times when others were in the area. Sightings of the hairy animal in the same area around Tennessee had been already surfacing for 3 years prior to this event, but when the allegations arose that the Bigfoot had tried to snatch a young child, all hell broke loose in the region where the sighting of the mysterious animal of legend had occurred. After the women reported the event, men armed with rifles combed the woods and forests in an attempt to shoot the Bigfoot. Obviously, they weren't successful, or else everyone would have all the proof they need of the legendary Sasquatch. Was it a boy or a girl? A young boy? Yeah. Come here, boy. Squeal like a pig, boy. The Sasquatch standoff. Oh, look, that picture looks just like that Bigfoot that does the beef jerky commercials. Huh. One of the more action-packed encounters with Sasquatch is recorded by a man named Shannon Baker, who wrote about his father's friend in the 60s having an amazing encounter with Sasquatch. Apparently, the friend, whose anonymous name was John for the story, had his home trashed by the legendary creature and his son almost abducted. John was able to ward off the creature in a series of showdowns with his rifle collection, in which he shot at the 8-foot-tall monster in a harrowing battle in his backyard. At one point, John ran into his house to find his wife scared out of her wits by a hairy arm of the creature curling in through the window frame. His wife raised a shotgun and fired double-aught buck shot through the window, hitting the Sasquatch in the arm. The event took place in Washington State near Copolis Beach. The incident was the basis for the movie Something in the Woods. Something in the Woods. I don't know if I've seen that one. The Kitts Swamp Freak Ape. There's that beef jerky Bigfoot again. In 1875, there weren't many zoos around, so the appearance of large ape-like beings might have been a less common occurrence. But that year, a man named Asa Grundy, however, described an animal that looked like a wanderoo monkey, but was 5 feet tall or so in size, in his backyard in Kitts Swamp, North Carolina. More alarmingly, the animal, he said, tried to abduct his 2 children. For weeks before this event, Grundy reported that the strange creature had been climbing around in his backyard garden, stealing poultry, corn, and other vegetables. I didn't know poultry was a vegetable. When Grundy saw the creature with his 2 kids in one arm and making a beeline for the woods, he quickly intercepted and smashed the animal with his fist. The kids were retrieved without injury, he said, but the incident prompted a search by area residents for the mysterious creature. Did it say how big this thing was? Deer, man, animal looked like a wanderoo monkey. 5 feet tall, I thought so. I guess he could have knocked the thing in the jaw, 5 foot tall. He probably wouldn't have put it down, but it might have dropped the kids. Doesn't say how big the kids were. But he had them, says, in one arm, I think is what it said. With his 2 kids in one arm and making a beeline for the woods. The Red Giants of Lovelock. Okay, we all know this story. Red-haired giants. 19. Archaeologists confirmed evidence of this battle of legend during an excavation of the hilly caves in Lovelock. In addition to unearthing the remnants of arrows used in the battle, the archaeologists also found the charred, mummified bodies of 2 red-haired giants. One of them was over 8 feet tall. Legend has it that the neighboring tribes from the surrounding area joined forces to defeat the seemingly unearthly invaders. Okay, they're saying they only found 2 of them? I thought there was a whole group of them in there. They're saying they only found 2. Seraphin Long. Okay, now that's a trail cam photo. Similar to the story on Lake Harrison was a young Native American girl who was only 17 years of age when she suddenly disappeared from her village in British Columbia. Scheduled to be married to a young brave in a Chehalis Indian village, she was last seen gathering cedar roots before her disappearance in the late 1800s. When she returned, Long gave birth to a child who died within a few hours of being born. She was too weak to talk when questioned. Sometime later, Long recounted how she had been carried off by a hairy giant that lived nearby. Unlike some accounts, Long said the encounter with the Sasquatch wasn't entirely negative, although she eventually requested she be returned to her village. Long said her captors spread gum over her eyes so she couldn't see the route to the Sasquatch encampment. I kind of remember that story, hearing that story. Wasn't entirely Was it entirely negative? Sasquatch hung like a horse. The abducted grandmother. Abducted grandmother? The Klamath River is a 263-mile body of water that winds through the hills and mountains of Oregon and feeds south into Northern Carolina. Or Northern California, rather. In the early part of the 20th century, some sources report the scenic river area became the site of a frightening Sasquatch abduction. Unlike the previous stories, this abduction case didn't involve a younger woman or child, but an elderly grandmother when she walked into a patch of pine trees near the river. A group of friends heard her frightening screams, but when they arrived at the spot, they said they saw a huge Sasquatch carry her. My Google Assistant's trying to answer my question, I guess. They said they saw a huge Sasquatch carrying off their friend under its arm. 4 weeks later, the woman stumbled into a homestead reporting that she had been captured and raped by the huge ape-like creature. Interesting that they're being taken, repeatedly raped for a little while, and then the Sasquatch lets them get away. The shaman and the stickly. Hey, Dave. The stickly Sasquatch. It's interesting that a lot of Sasquatch abduction stories emerge out of Native American storytelling traditions and legends, while many white person stories originated later on in the early 1920s, and we see little after, although there are many modern sighting reports. Before that, we also have many Native American stories, perhaps some of which may go back centuries. One of these stories is a tale about a shamaness in Alaska who was kidnapped by a Sasquatch in order to take care of a sickly Sasquatch baby. Eventually, after the baby had recovered, the Sasquatch tribe allowed the shamaness to return to her village on the condition that she not tell anyone where their encampment was. The Native Americans in Alaska refer to the Sasquatch as the Bushman. So I guess they speak Native American. Solomon Islands kidnapping. Solomon Islands. Marius Orion is an anthropologist and Sasquatch researcher who has collected numerous accounts over the years about Sasquatch sightings and footprints in the Solomon Islands. Solomon Islands, really. One of the more compelling stories Boren came across in his research was a story of Mango, a story passed down by the indigenous Guadalcanal. Is he talking about people? Guadalcanal, I thought, was a place. According to the natives, Mango was kidnapped over 50 years ago by the Sasquatch, after which she spent 25 years living with the giants. 25 years. As the islanders refer to them. The giants, as the islanders refer to them. Mango was eventually discovered again after this period, at which point they also discovered she was pregnant with one of the Sasquatch babies. Mango was apparently left mentally unstable by the experience, and sometimes she would cry hysterically after she was found again. According to them, many others on the islands have had similar kidnappings occur from time to time. Mango, 25 years. When they found her, she was pregnant, which means she had to have been a young girl when she was kidnapped, right? Does it say how old she was? Mango was kidnapped over 50 years ago by the Sasquatch, after which she spent 25 years living with the giants, as the islanders refer to them. Mango was eventually discovered after this period. She was pregnant. So, if she was pregnant after 25 years, what's the oldest she could have been when she was taken? Possibly 20 at the oldest. Guessing though that she was going to be right in that like puberty age, 12, 13. Saved by a whip. Russian hunter and adventurer Ivan Turgenev was swimming in a river located in a Russian forest in the 1800s when he felt a strong, hairy hand grip his shoulder. Turning, 15 to 20. I don't know. I'm guessing she was more like between 11 and 14, because that's very, very common interest for Sasquatch, is that age range. As he ran, a boy, according to the account, quickly swam away. Hold on. Hand gripped his shoulder. Turgenev saw a creature with a face like a monkey. The animal was much larger, he reported later, than a monkey, however, and its hair, like previous stories we saw before, was red. According to the account, Turgenev quickly swam away, and once he got to shore, he started running as fast as he could, forgetting all his belongings and even his rifle, which he might have used to protect himself. Meanwhile, in almost Hollywood style, the creature pursued behind while Turgenev stumbled along the shore as he tried to escape. As he ran, a boy appeared out of nearby woods with a whip and started whipping the Sasquatch, which quickly ran the other way, squealing as it retreated. The boy said he had seen the creature before and used the whip on it. Some of the nearby villagers thought the monkey creature might have been an old woman who lived in the woods near there, but some Squatch researchers suspect otherwise. Now, I'll tell you what, a bullwhip, that'll put a hurting on a Bigfoot. I mean, if you hit him good night, it'll slice right through his skin. Really mess him up. If you're good at it. The backpacking trip to hell. That's interesting, that sign. I wonder if that's really there or if somebody photoshopped that. Jason Richardson is a 48-year-old trail hiker who has traversed the Appalachian Trail as well as numerous European mountains. Richardson's vast experience in hiking, however, did little to prepare him for an alleged encounter with Sasquatch, which he later hoped was just some sort of hallucination or dream. But as he recollected it later, he realized he couldn't dismiss the incident as unreal. This was because he was bruised and hit by a tribe of Sasquatch, he said, during one of his many wilderness sojourns near Lake Tahoe. According to Richardson, he was walking along a trail near Tahoe when he heard a sound in nearby bushes. When he went to check it out, he was clubbed on the head. He awoke later to find himself in a cavern with several Sasquatches looming over him in the shadows. The creatures were using some sort of tools, he said, and they had bound him. When the Squatches, which also incidentally had red hair, he said, threw him outside the cave, he was able to break his bonds and get away. Richardson said he had been held captive by the Sasquatch for 10 hours. Okay, sources. SquatchResearchers.org, Sasquatch Chronicles, Delta Discovery. What the hell is that? See what this SasquatchResearchers.org, see if there's anything there of interest. Not there. Site's gone. Delta Discovery. Oh, this looks like it might be a newspaper. It's got Village Telegraph, Bethel News. I think this might be some kind of a newspaper or whatever. Okay, well, those stories, yeah, some of them I hadn't heard. They were kind of interesting. Yeah, it's a place. They made the way that they worded it was like it was a people. They said the indigenous Guadalcanal. You would say the indigenous peoples, you know. Unless, I don't know, maybe I'm just misunderstanding the way that word can be used or something. All right, let's see if we can find something else interesting. Anyone have anything interesting to put in the chat before I move on? We're up to 11 folks. Kara, if you're in here, waiting for your email with the audio and your location. You don't have to show me right where you're at, although it's not like I'm ever going to go to England, but I won't put it on the show, that's for sure. So what'd y'all think of those stories? Interesting? Have you heard them before? Let's see here. Albert Ostman, 70 years. What was that? 15 stories of Bigfoot abductions. Yes, that's a book. Russia reopens investigation into Dyatlov Pass incident. I did a show about that. 1 month ago. I think I saw something where that was pretty much explained everything that had happened. Acquiring human menstruation for Sasquatch bait. I heard about some guy doing that. Hi, Teresa. There's nothing really to catch up. I'm just reading stuff. I haven't really, it's just a hangout. A shocked Bigfoot walks in on Steiner playing hide the peanut butter with his dog. Eh? Hide the peanut butter with his dog. Oh, it's a joke. That's actually a pretty good picture there. Kind of like that. Sighting at Saltport State Park 1 month ago. Let's see what that is. Previous page is sending you to Beacon Journal News. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Two Ohio men say they encountered Bigfoot-like creature at Salt Fork State Park. What the hell? This is going to turn out to be some YouTube video that's been on YouTube for like years. Just to leisurely walk in the woods. One they've done many times, but this time was different. This time they spotted something that they say they'll never forget. It was January 12th when two Ohiomen found themselves staring at what they say resembled Bigfoot or Sasquatch. Should we even be here? Said Eric, one of the two men. Eric did not want his last name revealed. The figure had characteristics of Bigfoot, hairy, upright walking, ape-like creature that dwells in the wilderness and leaves footprints. Depictions often portraying them as missing link between humans and human ancestors or other great apes. Scientists have discounted the existence of Bigfoot, considering it to be a combination of folklore, misidentification, and hoax. Yeah, I don't know about that. I have to look at that picture a little closer. It kind of looks fake. Folklorists trace the figure of Bigfoot to a combination of factors and sources, including folklore surrounding the European wild man figure, folk belief among Native Americans and loggers, and a cultural increase in environmental concerns. Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Yeti, Ohio Grassman, whatever you choose to call it, it really is all the same creature. Very big, hairy and tall, averaging 6 to 8 feet tall, with footprints averaging from 13 to 17 inches long. I've heard of them 26 inches long. It has been rumored to live in Ohio since the mid-1700s. So they know what that's when it moved in the 1700s. It also has been rumored to live in Ohio's largest state park, Salt Fork. Over 36 sightings have been reported to Don Keating of Newcomers Town since the middle 1980s. With the huge amount of alleged evidence coming from Salt Fork's borders, Keating decided to host an annual Bigfoot conference at Salt Fork starting in 2005. According to the Cambridge, Guernsey County Visitors and Convention Bureau website. At Salt Fork State Park, there are 3 locations where Bigfoot is said to have been spotted. Morgan's Knob, where much of an episode of the Animal Planet television show Finding Bigfoot was filmed, Park Road, also known as Buckeye Trail, and Bigfoot Ridge, the park's primitive campground, where Kathy Lee Gifford and Hoda Kotb filmed an episode of the Today Show. In 2012, the Salt Fork State Park was named as one of USA Today's top 10 squatchiest places. Seeing the creature was scary, said Nathan Gray of Winterset, a crossroads located just east. Crossroads just east of Salt Fork State Park. When I couldn't see it anymore, that was terrifying. A video that recreates the scene and includes the alleged original footage of the Bigfoot sightings has been posted to YouTube. Okay, let's have a look. I think that's probably the same one that was at the top. Ruptured duck, what do you mean? What sounds wrong? I don't remember what I was reading a little bit ago. That screen. Oh, by the way, I found out it wasn't my memory being overclocked. It was the program I used to stream my show. Evidently, they've done an update and it's screwing with computer systems, and it's causing a memory leak is what it's doing, and it's causing problems. So I downloaded one that's supposed to fix it, but I'm seeing some more screwiness, so evidently they haven't completely fixed it, but at least it's not killing everything like it was last night. Alright, anyway, we'll go ahead and watch this video. Whoops.
To miss any of this video because there are parts throughout the entire video that show visuals of I can't explain, he can't explain. There's audio of noises from something.
Eric!
What is that? That sound. Back over there.
That used to be the trail right there. That's the trail that you're supposed to take.
Looks like we have a lot of bones. A lot of hair. I would say these are probably from deer. Several of them. Ripped apart. Looks like they're ripped apart pretty good.
Now that's pretty interesting, finding all those deer bones. I'll hide the peanut butter, yeah. All of those deer, I mean, and it looks like the entire deer was brought here and killed and eaten and whatever. And probably by a Bigfoot. So that's interesting.
So after seeing the bones and everything, we decided to continue down to the cave, the Hozak's cave. We had gotten permission to be able to actually fly a drone out at the park as long as we stayed away from any of the public areas like the lodge or cabins or, you know, even the campgrounds. And the sounds that you're going to hear next are absolutely bone chilling. Now the sounds of the leaves rustling, that's us moving around trying to pinpoint the exact location where the sounds are coming from.
Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon if you want to be notified of any future shows. Feel free to leave comments down below, and please smash that thumbs up. It helps the show out. Hello. Can you hear me now? There we go. Now why? I guess this program's still messing up. Completely lost audio. Why can't I read that? Jeez, lost a bunch of people while I was on my coffee run. I'm reading the chat. Hold on a second, people. All them deer bunch together is strange. I've seen that once in my life when a herd of deer starved over a bad winter. Yeah, those deer were in Salt Fork State Park. I guess maybe somebody could have been feeding them. I gave you all a timeout. You probably didn't hear me. I didn't realize the audio had gone out. I had to hit the head. And then, of course, my dog wanted to go out because I was going. So, and when I got back, I realized my audio was out. I had to stop and restart the program. So they need to fix that. I hope they fix the bug in it soon because that's getting quite irritating. It's doing better than the version I was using yesterday, but it's still, after a while, it gets a memory leak that starts causing issues with like all of my programs, not just the one. All right, let's go back to this and see if we can. I think we'll be able to hear this guy now.
Here next are
There we go.
absolutely bone chilling. Now the sounds of the leaves rustling, that's us moving around trying to pinpoint the exact location.
All right, can you all hear me now? There we go.
Now at this point, I decided to take the drone up. I adjusted the settings on the camera to make the lights light and the darks really dark, to try to get anything to stand out. So the picture's not that pretty, but we're trying to pinpoint what's making these sounds, see if we could see anything at all. And we actually do. And we're going to slow it down and show it a couple times. And I don't know, you guys be the judge of it. As you can see here, clouds have really thickened up and snow's on its way. So I want to hurry up and try to land the drone so it doesn't get caught up in the snow because it's not waterproof. And we're gonna hike back to where we think we saw something and see if we can't catch it on, our actual cameras up close. Cameras up close.
Well, that right there is a guy in a suit.
It's the Ohio grass man. Look. What is that? Look at it. It's not a person. Look at the hair. You can see all the hair. You'd be stupid to walk out here in a suit. You'd get shot. He's right behind that tree. The big one. Look. Dude, his hair's gray and black. Is that gray? Or is that snow? That's not snow. It's gray. Or brown and gray. Can't tell.
Are we still be here?
So we lost contact with whatever it is. We can't see it, can't hear it. Finally stopped snowing. Sky's starting to clear up a little bit. We were hoping to be able to see something. We didn't, so we decided to leave. We went up to the famous Bigfoot Ridge, hoped to hear or see something. We didn't. So I guess the ultimate question is, was this the Ohio Grassman? Was this Bigfoot? Or was this something completely different? If you have any stories about the Ohio Grassman at Salt Fork, I'd love to hear them down in the comments. If you have any thoughts or whatever, what this could be, again, let us know down in the comments. Stay tuned. Hopefully we'll hear more about it, and don't forget to subscribe and like and share this with your friends and family.
I don't know about that. I mean, it seemed to be just milling around, walking aimlessly just around. It was just, giving them plenty of opportunity to get them on video. That seems to be all it was. It was over there, then it was behind a tree a little bit, and then we're coming around, then it walked over here a little bit, and it did some weird scream, and I don't know. To me, it looked like a fake fursuit because the legs were straight like pants. They weren't shaped like calves. Yeah, walk like a man too. And it was a dude walking, like his feet were very close together, and he had this. He wasn't swinging his arms either. It was like it was probably cold. It was snowing, but it was like he was cold, and he kept looking down like he wasn't sure of his footing. So I don't know. The process is way more expensive than we could have imagined. Go fund me. Well, there's the answer right there, right? Oh, it's going to be expensive for us to what? To stabilize the video or something? So they need a GoFundMe. Yeah. Okay. All right, back to what we were doing. Oh yeah, hold on. Teresa, you're not, I don't believe you're banned in here. Let me look. I don't even know where that would be. Hold on a minute, people. I'm trying to unban somebody. Okay, this is the server. Server settings. Members. Yeah, well, I got two of them in here. I don't know why, but I'll revoke the ban on both of them. Okay. I don't know. One of them I know was yours. I don't know who the other one was. There's no picture, So I had no idea who the other one was, but I unbanned them both. There you go, Teresa. You're all set. Should be. Oh, common themes in Sasquatch encounters. That could be interesting. Well, let's have a look at that. Oh, visible neck, broad shoulders, robust muscles, V-shape. Thick torso. This isn't really. Flat nose and nostrils turned up, pronounced no. The nostrils are not turned up, they're downward facing. Some people do say that, but those people, I'm pretty sure, are full of crap. White of eyes visible. Yep. Short to long and wispy, well groomed, sometimes matted ears, wide mouth, pungent odor. Behavior, swaying side to side, throwing rocks, wood knocking, snapping limbs, nonverbal sounds, howling, roaring, hooting, grunting, whistling. Verbal sounds described as samurai chatter. A record played in reverse, human language but can't distinguish individual words. Follows humans by flanking them while staying out of sight. Bluff charge when threatened. No, not necessarily. They just bluff charge sometimes. Will hide behind trees and bushes and remain very still. When it perceives it's been spotted, extremely fast, smooth walking motion, does not bob up and down. Sometimes uses hands while walking. Carnivorous diet, deer, boar, insects, I guess, yeah. Domestic farm animals, herbivore, leaves, nuts, berries. Unexplained phenomena, glowing eyes, telepathic communication, nausea-inducing infrasound. Orbs sighted in the area, becomes quiet. I think they mean quiet. Before sighting, mimics human voices speaking one or two words. Yeah, I mean, that is what you hear in a lot of sightings. So. You know what I said the other day about I changed my opinion on partially on that woo stuff you hear, and I was talking about how you know, if we get these senses like being watched and all that, why couldn't they? And they might even have a heightened sense because of their environment and the way that they live and stuff. What I was referring to is that, you know, those orbs they see in the trees and stuff, maybe they get a sense that they're around and they're looking for them. You know what I mean? Not necessarily that the orbs are a related phenomena to Bigfoot. Maybe Bigfoot has seen them there, so they're like trying to figure out what they are themselves, you know. Teresa, did you hear me tell you that you're no longer banned on my Discord server there? All right, so moving on. Bud Rock 56 story on YouTube. Is he like had a Bigfoot encounter or something? Oh, Amy, what was it that you said?
I got on Reddit about a year ago and started
Talk about Steve Ishdal's last video. Send me the link and what it's about. I'll have a look.
doing some searches on Sasquatch encounters, and I came across a Reddit or a subreddit. I don't understand Reddit at all. And by the way, I would not recommend children go to Reddit. It's a wide open website where anything goes, and that's the case for this Reddit. But I love this Reddit. I love this guy's page, and because he writes some of the best stories that I have ever read on the internet. And the name of the Reddit is called Sasquatch Attacks. It is hosted or moderated by a guy named BudRock56. And I'm going to read, he gave me permission to read some of his stories online about 3 months ago, and I haven't done any, namely because a lot of them are, they're extra R rated, and I just can't do it on this channel. But this is a fun story, and if you don't like fun stories, you can click away now. But if you do, you're going to miss a really good story. This is a Quentin Tarantino type story, and I think you're going to like it. So hang in there. This is great. I love reading it. All right, here we go.
Okay, I guess he's going to read a story. I thought it was something, I didn't know what it was actually. Check him out later. Y'all there? What video are you talking about, Amy? Send me a link to the video, Amy, that you're talking about. The, what is it? Steve Ishtow? I don't know what you're referring to. Oh, look, that man's holding hands with that Bigfoot. I'm just skimming it real quick to see if this is... Wow. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah, it's a fake Bigfoot he's talking about. Matt, what are you saying? How to hunt bids? Is that what that Ishtail guy is about? Popular Science writes about Bigfoot. I don't understand. He's good at what? Hunting videos? Or does vids mean something else? I'm confused. Still don't get it. I mean, you just type in the search. Hey, Crypto, how you doing? But I mean, if he's got some secret tag that brings up better videos than I'm finding, yeah, I'll be willing to. But I don't see. Are you saying he made a video about that? Came across this video that shows what could be a sighting of Bigfoot near Laramie. Someone named Corey Goodman uploaded a video to YouTube that he says a Bigfoot sighting near Laramie, Wyoming. According to YouTube post, the video was taken about 15 miles south of Laramie. Has anyone seen this before? In the video, you can see a figure walking across frame, turning to look at something walk off. Folks that took the video were out to capture some footage of the Big Boy steam engine. And they spotted the Bigfoot. It's staged, some guy, staff, whatever. What are you talking about, Masons? I've never been a Mason. Mason classified. What are you talking about? Freemason, brother. Why are you saying Freemason? I mean, do you think you know me, or why are you saying Freemason? I've never been a Freemason. Nothing. Yeah, I don't know what you're getting to, but Freemasons don't just go on to a chat forum and start inviting people to join. So you're gone. Just saw a thing earlier that's today that said that there's a lot of bots out there that are doing stuff like they want to be friends and that kind of thing. I think that might be because that guy's not really talking to me. He's just saying things. That's kind of what a bot would be like. So, Amy, are you still here? Because I've asked you to put that link or send me the link to this video. Oh, wait a minute. I think she did. Yep, there it is. How to hunt. Now I know what you're talking about. I thought you were like an instruction video on how to hunt 4 videos. I thought that's what you were saying. I'm like, what is he talking about? All right, let's see. Sasquatch photos, video links, and a current issue. Sasquatch sharing photos in this one. That's not bad, really. I think that's one of the ones off the BFRO though. They do have one or two that's not bad, but the cheekbones aren't right. I'll have to see this one.
Well, spring's definitely getting closer. I don't know about all of you, but it's getting warmer here. Snow's melting. It's definitely, it'll still dump snow again a few times before the full-on spring comes, but I think the majority of winter hell has come and gone. And, I'm right at the base of Mount Curry, right at the bottom of the chutes. I'm checking on some moose that I discovered back here last fall. But I wanted to slip in here while there's enough snow to worm this sack of shit in here and see if I can get an idea how many moose were actually running around in here, and see how many wolves might be in here too, and see if I can get a good idea of what's going on. And sure enough, it took me what? I don't know, probably took me about 3 minutes to get brand new wolf track, and a black wolf ran right across in front of me on the sled. Cheeky buggers. I get a lot of pictures, a lot of photographs sent to me. And a lot of them are, sure enough, you know, are just pictures of the same old stuff, dark blotches and green leaves and shit. And, you know, I'm sure when
Crypto, what do you mean is what guy official? The video we're watching now? I mean, he's got a YouTube channel, if that's what you mean by official. Or were you talking about the Mason? If you're talking about the Mason, I think that was a bot. That's why I got rid of him.
when you are the person there at the time, seeing what you see in those bushes or in that forest, and you can see it moving, you can see it looking back at you. When the people are taking the photograph, obviously they have some excitement what they're seeing. You're seeing something in that forest, in that thick bush, moving, looking back at them, blotchy little patches of fur here and there, and it looks like a shadow. But the person that's there at the time sees what it is, and sees it moving, and they try to take a picture with their cell camera or whatever. And I can see the excitement when they get the picture of what they're looking at on the camera, and then they know they did it. Oh, I got it on the camera. And then, but in their excitement and their enthusiasm, I mean, it's exciting to be them and be there at the moment and actually get a quick glimpse of what they're seeing on the camera. But sadly, when they share that photograph, that's all the stranger has to look at, and obviously all it looks like is a shadow and some green around the trees. That's it. You know, it's pretty tough to get excited with the person that's doing it. So, but every once in a while, you get a photograph sent in that just doesn't make any sense. Like, I'm gonna share a few photographs that have been emailed to me. Some of them I haven't a clue about the history of them at all. You know, we'll take this deer up in this tree, for instance, this one. This one got forwarded to me on social media. I don't know who took it. I know it was in the States. And no, it wasn't a cougar. Cougars do not drag their kills up into the trees. I think jaguars might, and leopards definitely pull their kills up into the trees. But if you look at the branches that this thing's sitting on, even if you could picture being a human being attempting to get that buck up there, so what's your average mature whitetail buck? A couple 100 pounds. So you're looking at a couple 100-pound buck, and then you're looking at a couple 100-pound person trying to wrestle that thing up in the air, and then get it to lay across those, what I call small branches, level like that, while you're clinging onto the tree. I'd like to see somebody do it. That'd be kind of cool. But so there's that picture right here. And I'll put this other photo up right here. This is another one a guy from British Columbia came across. It looks like a beef calf. I don't know how high that is, 10, 12 feet off the ground. Been there for a while on top of that snapped off tree trunk. There's another one, right? And the weird thing is it's a very common thing. It's very common for people to come across abnormal pieces of game meat or whole animals or domestic livestock hanging up way up high in trees, right? It's not normal. And I don't know a human being that's done that. So there's a couple photographs there. And then what else do I got? This photograph right here came from a couple, man, I gotta find their story. They sent me a story of a bunch of stuff going on the property. They live rural. The next neighbor is quite a ways away, and their neighbor snapped this photograph from
Yeah,
the
that does
driveway,
not look real
going
to
up the
me.
road, gravel driveway in the car, or truck, or what it was, and they snapped this photo here. They sent that to me, and what do you say? I mean, what do you say? It's a photograph. Like I said, you know, a lot of you people are getting frustrated and angry. Show us the pictures. Show us the pictures. But, you know, as you can see, we'll use this simple photograph here. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. That thing could have.
I mean, if you look at the leg that's forward, am I unmuted? Yeah, if you look at the leg that's forward, the shin comes up and then it crooks forward for the knee. I think that might just be from that angle. Like there's, I don't know, some trees or something that line up and they make the shape of a person. Or a cutout. I think somebody could make a better cutout than that. But in both legs, one leg skinnier than the other, it doesn't look real to me. I think it's just the way two trees happen to line up together or something.
Could have his tongue sticking out at the camera, winking. And it is not, this photograph is not going to change your day today at all. It's not going to change anything about the way you feel the topic. It's just not. It's a photograph, right? And people will wonder why I don't get jacked up with photographs. I do have other photographs still waiting on word to be able to share them publicly. If hopefully they will end in time for this little project that we're creating for all you. I do have another photograph that I will share. All right, I'll share it now. Okay, I have permission from this person. Earlier, I've had this photograph for quite a while. I sent it off to a couple friends of mine, and they ran it through a few tests. And this is an actual photograph of this thing standing there or moving through. Okay, and you can see why I wasn't overly jacked up about sharing it on the internet with everybody, because look at it. Look at it. That is one messed up, what the F is that picture, right? And furthermore, the woman who was in has been in contact and is in contact with me, she also pointed out that there's 3 other shadows, I believe. I don't have the photo with me right now as I sit here on the sled. You'll see it when I get back and make this video, but there's 3 other shadows on the ground. Same angle as the shadow behind that big ugly thing in the picture, and they're all cruising through in front of the trail camera. Who knows how fast they're moving? So obviously the first things that went through triggered the camera. You can see the shadows, and then this thing. And that's just one of the shitty things about us all being lied to and misled, and not having all the knowledge of the world shared with us, is because shit like this is going on. And when we see a simple photograph of it, your average brain's gonna go, oh yeah, right, as if. Photograph is because lad went through and video about a shadow and is in contact with me.
Alright, I gotta have a look at this. Well, to me, what appear to be what is supposed to be arms down on the thing, like, and there's a face hidden that way, I guess. Those look like the back legs of an animal. You can see the Achilles tendon on the far one, which would be on the front of, if that was an arm, it would be on the front of the forearm. There's an Achilles tendon. So that's actually the back leg of an animal. Well, I mean, if it's zooming through, there's a lot of, well, there really isn't, because you can see detail in the fur. So there's not a lot of motion blur. I've seen a Bigfoot from 5 feet away. That is not a Bigfoot. It's not what they look like. But what's getting me is that the whole, like where you get where the face is, okay, and then there's some darkness behind that. The face is facing down, if that's a face. And then behind the dark that's coming from the eyes, that whole area looks like clouds. I mean, even if you look like along the, I guess what would be the back of the neck or whatever, it looks like clouds. Now he's saying that he's sent this off to some friends who verified that this is a real photo. I don't think that's a real photo. Just looking at the top edge, I can see where the pixels aren't the same. So that's been photoshopped. Yeah, this is not a real photo. And I'm not trying to be negative like he's talking about. I'm actually trying to figure out if there's a way this was a double exposure or something. It doesn't really happen though with digital photos. What did that say at the bottom? Book?
She also pointed out that there's 3 other shadows that is in contact with me. Woman who was in has been in contact and is in contact
Bushnell.
with me.
So this was taken by a Bushnell. What do you call it? Camera trap or whatever. There's nothing about that photo that looks natural. And like I said, both of the arms actually look like legs. I don't know, the back legs of like a camel or something. It looks like somebody photoshopped it. That's what it looks like. I mean, and then you get those too. Where are the back legs? There's nothing there. I mean, so even laws of physics wise, this thing cannot be moving or standing or anything. There's no back legs. But y'all can see my mouse, I think. Okay, if you can see my mouse, look right here, right along here. Now, I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, you can, because I can see it on my TV. You see that white edge that's going around there? I'm pretty sure that's where the pixels aren't matching up, where this has been composited in Photoshop or something. Either that or there's, you see how you got like weird clouds and shit over here? That there's weird clouds and stuff there that just happens to be blending with it right here. Because this is actually, you see how it's kind of pixelated and screwy looking? Which could be, and then you see it over here too. That could be what's causing that there. If this right here is actually the background that just happens to be blending. Like you see this tree here. There's a tree here too, and you can't make a you can't differentiate the difference between where the tree ends and where this shoulder, I guess, starts. So, yeah, this is, I think somebody photoshopped this, really. And shadow maps aren't that hard to do. And what is this? I mean, is this right here? It looks like a loincloth. But there's nothing behind the loincloth. You know? This is just screwy. Yeah. I don't believe it for a second. I have no idea how tall the Bigfoot I saw was. I saw it through a window. It was one of those farm windows. It's only like a half a window. And it's like up on the wall. And it was on the other side. And I only saw its face looking in the window. And I only saw its face from about here up. And so, because it was the bottom of the window was right about here on it. And it was looking in the window. So I have no idea how tall it was. I don't know if it was crouched down looking in the window, because that window is only about that was window sill. Like if I was standing, I was actually sitting at the table looking up at it. If I was standing, and at the time I was like, it's 12 or 13, so I was only about, the hell was I back then? Like 5'5", maybe 5'4". But I could look out the window, but just the windowsill probably would have been right around my neck if I was standing there. So, you know, would have been maybe 6 or 7 feet to the top of the window, I guess, on the outside. So, you know, it could have been crouched down, or it could have been standing there, depending on how big it was, you know. Oh yeah, it scared the hell out of me. At first, you've never listened to that episode of my show? You have never listened to the very first episode of my show? I don't know. I was sitting there, and my cousins, Curtis and Therese, were sitting there. My sister was sitting there, and we were around the kitchen table. And the kitchen table was pushed against the wall below this window. So Curtis and my sister were on this side. Teresa was on this side, and I was sitting like right across the other side of the wall, you know. So I was sitting on that side of the table. They were on that end of the table. She was on that end of the table, okay? So I was literally facing the wall that was below the window. So we were all talking, and my mother had gotten there to take us back to Boston. This was in Virginia. And we were spending the summers at Granny's house down in Virginia. And she lived in a old farmhouse up on the side of the mountain. So we were back in the trees and stuff, you know, kind of as you start up the bottom of the mountain. And we were just talking about funny stuff that happened over the summer. And we all started laughing really hard, and it was really funny. So I leaned back, my head back like this, laughing, and leaned forward, and then looked back up because I saw there were 2 reflections in the window, what I thought were reflections. And I looked at it for a second, and I thought, well, there's nothing on the wall behind me. What the hell's making that reflection? You know, and I turned around and looked on the wall behind me to see what was there causing those 2 white spots. And Granny had one of those plates, one of those flowery, farmy kind of plates hanging on the wall above the stove that was behind me. And there was nothing else there. And I looked back to see, well, could that be that plate? No, that can't possibly be that plate, you know, like maybe a double image of the plate or somehow. And I said, no, that can't be it. And then I just stared for a minute and let my eyes focus because it was dark outside. And as my eyes started to focus, I realized there was somebody standing there looking in the window. And they were looking at my cousin Teresa, who was sitting to my right. So they were looking to their left, you know, like this. They were looking like this. down so I could see the whites of the eyes, and I thought it was the whites I thought were a reflection at first. So then I was staring real hard trying to figure out who it was, and I was like, why in the hell am I having so much trouble seeing this person? You know, because down around there were no black people, and this person had black skin. Or this thing had black skin. So I was like, you know how sometimes when you're expecting to see a certain thing, if you don't see it right away, it takes a minute for your brain to switch gears and just start looking in general. That's kind of what it was. So I was just looking for a person attached to the eyeballs, and I'm like, why can't I see who this is? And then I suddenly realized, oh, it's because they have black skin. And I was looking, and they had this really weird look on their face. And, you know, if you've ever seen Sling Blade, that expression Billy Bob Thornton has, like, that's what this thing had on its face. And I was like, what the hell? That's a really weird dude. That's like somebody out of the nut farm. And I was trying to figure, and then I'm like, no, it's got to be, you know, my Uncle Carl put a mask on or something, and he's trying to scare us. You know, and I saw that there was fur. Like, you know, those old, I don't know if it's old, but I used to watch Hogan's Heroes, and now they have those, the Russians wear those fur hats that are like that. You know, they're like, you know, like the tip of a Q-tip or whatever, stuck on their head. So I was looking, and I could see the outline against the sky. I don't believe there was a moon that night, but, you know, you can still see because it's the country, so the stars themselves kind of light the sky up a little bit. And I could see the outline of fur against the sky. And I was like, why in the hell is he wearing a fur hat? And I started to say, Carl, what are you wearing a fur hat for? Because it was August. It's like, I don't know, 80-something degrees out, even at night, you know. So just as I started to open my mouth to say, Carl, why are you wearing that first? Now, first of all, before I got the impression that it was my Uncle Carl playing a joke on us, because once I realized it was a black person, it's like, well, there aren't any black people around here. You know, so then I thought, well, it's some dude that's just like a peeping Tom, and I was going to yell, hey, get the hell out of here, you know. And then that's when I said, oh, it's got to be Carl. And I saw the hat, the fur, and I was about to say, why are you wearing a fur hat? It's hot as hell. And I remember it was hot that night. We had like the windows open, and not that window didn't open. But we had the windows open and stuff, fans going and that kind of thing. And just as I was about to yell, hey, Carl, why are you wearing the fur hat? My cousin Teresa must have looked at me to fit because I was staring at the window, you know. And just as I opened my mouth to yell, hey, Carl, the thing's eyes turned and looked dead at me. And as soon as it did that, I was like, ooh. And then it started doing this weird thing. You know how the best way to describe it, because this is what it reminded me of at the time, when a dog is like protecting a toy or a bone, and you're like trying to mess with the dog, and you're like pretending you're going to reach for it, and the dog's like just very slowly turning their head towards you, like they're gonna snap at you if you reach for the bone, right? But their head moves very slowly, and you know, I've always thought the dog doesn't really realize their head's moving slowly. It's just that they're so focused on trying to keep you from getting that toy that they don't realize that their head is very slowly turning towards you. Well, that's what this thing did. Because at first it just moved its eyes, and then very slowly its head started to turn towards me. But I got the sense it was trying to be perfectly still. But I mean, because its head was turning really slow, like almost you couldn't tell. And once it started doing that, it registered between the eyes, because the color part of the eyes was bigger than normal, and the way it was moving like an animal and being still, almost my impression was it thought that if it held still, I wouldn't see it. That was the impression that I thought. You know, as soon as I thought that, just this rush of fear just kind of flooded my whole body, and I took off running. And when I did, the chair I was sitting in just flew across the room. And I went in the other room, turned around. Here come my sister and my cousins right behind me, going, "What?" And I said, "Did you see that?" And they said, "No, we ran because you ran." So. In camera, so many. Yeah, that didn't have much facial hair because I could see, I could see the crags in its face. Its face was very leathery. That's why I thought it was a mask. But I could see, the crags, and the weird thing is they went up and down. You know how people get like crow's feet that go to the side and stuff, well, it had, I could see its cheeks were huge. Its cheekbones were just massive. And then when the cheekbones came over, right between where the high part of the cheekbones were and the bridge of the nose, it was like sunk back, pretty deep. And I could see these rather deep crags running down to just above its upper lip, like this part of your lip. And there were multiple really deep crags running down. It was like leather. And after I stared at it for a second and my eyes focused, I could tell it had black skin, but its skin had a gray, ashy look to it. So that's the retelling of seeing the Bigfoot out the window. Let me see what's going on over here. 13 people. All right, we'll go back. Oops, not that one. There we go. We'll go back, see what else he's got to offer here in these photos.
She also pointed out that there's 3 other shadows, I believe. I don't have the photo with me right now as I sit here on the sled. You'll see them when I get back and make this video, but there's 3 other shadows on the ground. Same angle as the shadow behind that big ugly thing in the picture, and they're all cruising through in front of the trail camera. Who knows how fast they're moving? So obviously the first things that went through triggered the camera. You can see the shadows, and then this thing. And that's just one of the shitty things about us all being lied to in this lead and not having all the knowledge of the world shared with us, is because shit like this is going on. And when we see a simple photograph of it, your average brain's gonna go, "Oh yeah, right," as if, right? But then if you let common sense take over in your thought process and you look at a photograph like this and then you start thinking, holy shit, how would you even start coming up with that visual in your head before you dumped all the money and time or whatever it takes into creating that thing to throw in front of a trail camera? And then out of all that effort that you put forward to come up with, just think up the description of this thing, all the effort and the time and the materials and the money, or however you did it, to come up with this thing, you would think that you would take more than just this one somewhat blurry trail camera picture of all your effort. Right? Think about it that way. I mean, there's other people out there who apparently supposedly have crystal clear footage of a Sasquatch head looking at the camera winking and stuff like that. It is what it is. I don't know. I mean, what do you say? What do you say to all that? You just got to try to picture what it would take to duplicate that photo, what it would take to come up with and create the thing in this picture. And then you're going to have to ask yourself and wonder why they only took one photograph of it with a shitty trail camera. And that's it. After all that effort of coming up with that idea, creating that thing, the description of it, getting the appropriate materials and trying to build this thing to make it look like this, and that's all you're going to do in the end of all that effort, is just take one shitty trail camera picture of it, and that's it. And then you're going to share it with me privately. And that's it. You know what I mean? So there's other ways to look at a photograph that you see of something unknown to try to make sense of it. And this thing right here, I don't know what the hell it is. I know I don't need that running around where I hunt. I don't need it running around my property, whatever it is. And I really, really feel for this family where this trail camera photo was taken from, because unfortunately they have ongoing things going on their property non-stop, and they're not happy about it. Fortunately, nobody's been hurt and no one's gone missing off their property. There have been a few investigators, so-called investigators, that went there in the past. She said they didn't even want to stay overnight, and they left. And but there you go. That's the history on one of the photographs that you guys have all been blowing a gasket on me for not sharing, and now you can see why. It's not, you just why would you be enthusiastic about sharing a photograph like this with the public on the internet? Think about it, right? There you go. There it is. And then what else do we got? I had this trail camera photo sent in to me. Apparently the trail camera is knocked down, and this is what they had on the trail camera. I don't know who took the photograph. I don't know where it originated from. Somebody sent it to me, and all they said was the trail camera's knocked on the ground. That's what was on it. And you look at it, and your average.
Now that's pretty crazy. What do y'all think? Can you hear me? What do y'all think of that? Yeah, it kind of looks like the toes are webbed, doesn't it? Tell you what, though, it looks familiar. And that foot in the back, one of the nails is like pointing the wrong way. It's like pointing up instead of down. See that one on the, I guess the second, the one on the right? Looks like it has a dew claw too. They look familiar though. I can't put my finger on it. Yeah, the back leg looks like it has a dew claw back there in the shadows. I'm talking about the one in the front on you have the two toes in the middle. The one on the right, the nail is going straight out instead of down. I mean, I guess it could have got... Hey, people, can you hear me now? I didn't realize my stream quit. Anyway, the dew claw, you can see the dew claw in the back. I don't know if you heard that part. But the feet look like some kind of rodent to me. Yeah, the left leg, that right middle nail, it's pointing out instead of down. Like it's either been torn or it's like a taxidermied something or other, and the nails got messed up and that's why the guy has the leg in the back to take the picture. But I mean, that's a not high def, but it's a very crisp image. And it could be, I don't know how good of an image that those trail cams take, like up close, because that it doesn't even look like a trail cam image. It looks like a photograph with a camera. But if it is a rodent, that would be a macro shot, which means that those rocks are quite small. And they could be, because I don't see anything in there. Like, I don't see any small rocks in there. All I see is the same size rocks. And, you know, usually you'll see like a big rock and then you see littler rocks around there. Well, all of those seem like they're all the same size. Like they're all little rocks. Which would be the case if this was a close-up shot of a very small animal. It kind of reminds, especially the one in the front, kind of reminds me of the feet that my hamster had. Like if I was to take a macro, a very close shot of its foot, that's what its foot looked like. Anyway, let's move on. See what else he's got going on.
Oh yeah, right. Look at as if, right? And then, like a guy like me, I'm gonna look at that picture and think, holy shit.
Yeah, I know it's supposed to be a dog man, but those I've seen, it looks like my hamster's feet. My hamster had feet like that. Well, the one in the front, the one in the back is, I don't know. Like even the other toe, it looks like the nail is like shoved in the ground or something, because it's like broke across the top. The nail on the right is sticking straight out. I mean, there's something weird about that rear foot. This front foot looks like my hamster's foot.
What an effort that must have been to come up with that visual, then get the materials and put it all together so freaking perfectly, and only take one shitty trail camera photo of it, and that's it. And that's it. And then forward it off to somebody or post it somewhere. After all that effort of coming up with these feet and those toenails.
Now, see, that gets me why he keeps talking about, why would you do that and take this shitty photo? Well, you know what? When somebody's trying to hoax something, they're going to use the blurriness, the blob squatchiness, to help sell the photo, because they know if you had a nice high def image, you'd be able to easily tell that it was fake. So I don't know why I keep saying that. That would actually be part of the planning if somebody was trying to hoax something.
And that skin, that flesh, whatever this thing is, what an odd thing to do. What an odd thing to put such a massive, massive skilled effort in, and then only take one shitty picture of it with a trail camera. And that's it. It's kind of odd, right? So sometimes you, especially these days with all the information coming out, people sharing, people gaining their confidence and sharing their honest experiences and what they have with all of you, myself. It's just, sadly, we're going to have to all start admitting to ourselves pretty quick that, number one, we do not know everything. Number one, again, we are not the only upright beings running around on this planet.
Now, see, that's the thing. That picture does not mean that whatever that is bipedal. All it means is there was only a photo of 2 of the paws. There could have been 2 more on the other side of the camera. The camera got knocked on the ground. It could have been knocked on the ground. Like, let's say it is a dog or a canine of some kind. It could have been knocked down on the ground under its stomach, so its front paws were on one side, its back paws were on the side that got photographed. So that doesn't mean that it's bipedal, but it does look like kind of looks like a dog's foot, but at the same time it doesn't. Like the one in the front, definitely, that looks like my hamster's, what my hamster's feet look like. A hamster, a mouse, gerbil, their feet look like that. Except for possibly that webbing. I don't remember that webbing being there. But like if you took a close-up of some, there's a kind of rodent, I think it was my hamster. It looks like a rodent's foot to me. The back one looks like a dog's foot. The front one looks like a rodent's foot. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. Let's move on to the next one. What the hell is that? Oh. I wanted to see the picture he has for his thumbnail. That's really good. But he didn't have it. Wasn't even in there. Oops. No, I don't want that. Don't want to do that. There we go. Did I never switch this back? Damn it. There we go. See how my screen is staying like that?
When you'll need a gun. Rational gun owners carry not because it's a weapon, but because it's...
See how the screen is staying like this? That is actually my streaming software. The memory leak is causing
shield. They do this even when most options to carry a gun can be inconvenient, uncomfortable, or difficult to conceal. At Urban Carry, we know you just want to easily carry a gun at all times with immediate...
All right, so I am back again. Actually went out to do some videoing this evening to a cool spot, and the caliper, my brake froze up, just about lit my truck on fire, so that kind of sucked. And then and it's been raining lately, so it makes it a little tough. So I'm gonna make this one indoor video here now and share this story and all these photos. And this is from a family in Oklahoma, I believe. I'm pretty sure Scott Carpenter's helping these people out now, and another man is helping them out. And they're having a lot of grief. And the guy's obviously a little stressed out. He's got these things, taking interest in his family and his children. And he's actually got to send his family away while he tries to
Scott Carpenter,
sense of it. And you got to feel for these people, man. You know, I mean, you imagine having an experience like the one I'm about to read to you and share with you. And you imagine having this going on and being this concerned and having nowhere to turn to. Nowhere to go. Wouldn't that be absolutely mind-boggling frustrating? And then to top it off, if you were to speak publicly about it, then you're going to have people laughing at you and calling you an idiot and calling you a liar. You know? How sad that is. It's pretty gross. But anyway, I was cracking open the story here to get it going. And, you know, I'm thinking another thing, too, I might do pretty soon. We noticed on a couple channels, we're thinking of doing, like Sarah's thinking of doing this app with the relaxation sounds on it and stress-free sounds on it that you can listen to. It seems to be quite popular. And we got a bunch of cool recording stuff to do it with. But I noticed on one channel on YouTube, somebody does some videos of creeks in nature. And it's like 8-hour-long videos, and it's got millions of views. It's real handy, I guess, for people. And I was watching it. And then I fast forwarded on it, and I noticed that obviously the video part is just a loop because it's 8 hours long and the lighting doesn't change in the creek or the forest. But it gave me an idea. And I thought, hey, maybe I've got this one camera set up, a 4K high def camera, and I can put a 128 gig card in it, and one of these extra large batteries I bought for it, it says it'll record over 6 hours. So what I think I might do, which a lot of you will find interesting, especially if you're stuck indoors, is I might pick the right spot, set the camera up on a tripod where there's some water or some cool nature sounds, and then hit record and leave it there for around 2 or 3 hours. And I might time it to do either from dark to very first light in the very first couple hours of everything coming awake videos to the last 2 hours of light when everything starts to come alive. Obviously, I'm going to set the camera up in places where you could probably see something, whether it be far off or in the near distance or whatever. And I think it'd be really interesting. And I'll probably do another YouTube channel just for those videos, and we'll keep it attached to this channel here. And I think it'll be really, really interesting. And it'll be easy to do because as soon as the snow is melting where I am, I'm getting more access back to the normal places I can usually go run around. And I think those would be some pretty freaking cool videos, and who knows what would get caught on them. And if not anything, at least it'll be very relaxing and very cool to watch while you're stuck indoors dealing with all this crap that's going on. But anyway, I'm going to share this story with you guys and the photographs he attached. And then in the meantime, I'm working on something else that came up. Somebody sent me some very, very interesting items in an email with some photographs that kind of makes it take a couple steps back and give me permission to share. But I have a feeling first we have to do a few things to make sure that everything stays safe and doesn't get taken. And we will be sharing that later on for sure. But first we got to make sure that it's just going to remain safe from disappearing before we tackle it publicly. But lots of interesting things coming in. But anyway, here we go. Listen to this one. And picture being this man, all right? Picture being this family while I read this.
I moved to the Antlers Atoka area of southeast Oklahoma about 4 years ago. If you'd have asked me if I believed in Bigfoot while I was living in the armpit of Arkansas, Pine Bluff, I would have said, nah. A month or two after moving to a 40-acre ranch outside of Antlers, my wife fell asleep on the couch and woke up to what she said was someone jiggling the front doorknob. She jumped up to lock it, and she said when she turned around, there was a shadow outside the window of a figure with a big head, long hair, and was gone in a flash. She said she could have imagined it. I blew it off. My son was 3 at the time and got him a battery go-kart, and his mother heard him say, "They can't catch me now." When she asked him what he meant, he said, "The man who lives in the woods, he stands at my window at night and watches me sleep. He can't catch me now." I now have a 2-year-old daughter who used to throw fits to be outside till one day she ran inside, slammed the open front door, and was crying. I've noticed before she goes outside, she will poke her head out of the door and look around for a minute before going outside, and rarely will play in the playhouse that is close to the tree line. About a year ago, I was laying in bed, not fully asleep, and I heard a melodic whistle kind of chatter. And I sat up because it sounded like it was coming from the woods outside my bedroom. My dogs immediately started howling, not barking, and wouldn't come off the porch and are usually aggressive. One of my dogs has bit the mail lady, the UPS man, the neighbor. She didn't leave the porch that night, and I heard the same kind of whistle chatter but slightly different about 3 minutes after the first whistle. That really stuck with me. I Googled what I could best describe as the sound I heard, and Bigfoot talk kept coming up. Well, the other day, November 11th, 2019, my son came running into our bedroom and said, "Daddy, there's a bear outside. It has a white face on it and it was looking at me." I recently watched Missing 411 and remember a kid describing what I believed was a Bigfoot as a bear that could talk or something like that. I grabbed my rifle and ran outside to where he said he saw it, and I couldn't see anything. Now I'm wondering if my kids have seen something. A few days later, December 3rd, 2019, I recorded a shadow that appeared to be on 2 feet approaching my house. So far, the night of the video of the shadow, I was watching a live video feed from my phone because the dogs were acting weird, and I saw what appeared to be a shadow on 2 feet approaching the corner of my house. I immediately grabbed my gun. The 2 bumps that you hear in the video are me going through my bathroom and out the other door, warned my wife that I was fixing to open up the front door and shoot off a couple warning shots. Now I have 3 sleeping children at this time. I have my disabled father next door. It's approximately 11:30 p.m. and I don't want to go busting off shots out of my front door, but I felt like I needed to try to scare this thing away. As soon as this happened, I shut the front door, I called 911 and told him I had an intruder in my yard and I requested a deputy. The next morning, I went to the sheriff's office to add to my report a link to the video on YouTube because I had since uploaded it so they would have access to it, and had a conversation with a couple of deputies up there. One deputy, a Deputy Branson, followed me outside and he said he wanted to talk to me outside for a minute. He said that he knew they were out there, that they get numerous reports this time of year, and a lot of people approach him directly with pictures or footage for him to review because they do not want an official police report or people from their church finding out, or to have people contact them or coming up on their land. He gave me his personal number and told me if I had any more problems to contact him directly. I feel comfortable sharing his name and what he told me because he did not tell me to keep this just between ourselves. He just didn't want to speak of it in front of the other deputies. I was surprised when he did contact me the next morning about 8 a.m. He was curious to how my night went, if I had any more disturbances, and I told him no, that it was a very quiet night. It didn't last. I put up more wireless security cameras. They caught numerous limbs breaking sounds of something large mass pushing through the brush. My main dog came up missing. He was the one that alerted me that they were there close. I started with putting up 6 game cameras and a bait station. I never recorded anything related to what I was trying to record. On December 25th at about 9 p.m., I pulled my camera's live feed. I heard bipedal footsteps running in short bursts, stopping and running again, and I caught a flash of eye shine on a camera so close I could see the slots of the eyes, and I could see the pupils. I grabbed my gun, went outside with a flashlight, but didn't see anything. The next night, on December 26th at approximately 7 p.m., I turned on my camera to the live feed. I saw a pair of eyes standing next to one of the pine trees in my front yard, near my kid's playhouse. Now, this is where it's going to get really interesting, and this is also when I realized just how much I've underestimated the intelligence and instant reaction these things possess. I grabbed my big flashlight, a Kimber 45 Crimson. I head outside, shining my light, looking for the figure that I saw on camera. I walked between the 2 pine trees and my kid's playhouse, shining my light out into the pasture. I didn't see anything, so I went back inside. About 20 minutes later, I pulled up my camera's live feed and something had put an object in front of my camera. Grabbed the flashlight, grabbed the gun, and went back outside. I was standing approximately 15 feet from my kid's playhouse area, shining my light onto the playhouse. While keeping my flashlight in the playhouse, I reached down with my right hand to unholster my pistol, cocked the hammer, and proceeded to look around. I didn't see or hear anything again. I was reviewing my video footage that I recorded while I was outside after I went back in the house. Upon review of the video that I just recorded while I was outside, the camera that was located in the playhouse that picked up eye shine had picked up a shadow that was cast onto my horse cover by my flashlight. What I hadn't realized while I was outside is when I was focused on unholstering my pistol and cocking the hammer, this thing was hidden behind my playhouse. It stood up and relocated to another area of the playhouse for more cover in the few seconds that I was looking down at my gun. It saw me looking down at my gun and instantly took advantage of that moment and stood up and relocated and actually crossed right in front of my flashlight beam. And I never heard it. I went back to review the video the first time that I went outside and can actually see it cast a shadow the first time. It was a juvenile. I think I was so focused on looking for a 9 or 10 foot Sasquatch that I never saw a small juvenile. Well, the third time I didn't even bother going outside. I grabbed my AR-15 with night vision scope, had the wife throw open the front door, and I already had my gun pointed at the playhouse area. Through my night vision scope, I could see it standing behind the playhouse looking at me through the slats on the railing. Right when I pulled the trigger, it darted to the right and was gone. But believe it or not, it actually came back the same night. Next day, December 27th, a total of 19 game cameras were installed around the perimeter and upgraded to a total of 6 wireless security cameras. That night, about 7 p.m., one of my game cameras recorded a figure walking behind the playhouse. I started wondering why the focus is on the playhouse, and we had a lot of company, my nieces and nephews on December 23rd and 4th, and the focus of their activities was on playhouse area. I was going through some of my recordings from the 23rd and 24th, and I had a few videos that were set off by the motion of my horses, and I noticed that the horses were moving away at a brisk pace from the tree line. I zoomed in on this area, and in 4 videos taken on December 24th at 10:30 a.m., I can see 2 large adult-sized Sasquatches that are taking turns observing the children from an observation point behind a leaning tree. I had this video footage recorded for 4 days before I even realized what it was. I believe this to be the mother and the father of the juvenile that approached the playhouse on December 25th and 26th. I believe that they are just curious. What bothered me about the whole situation, that I was told majority of the time, when they become aware that you're aware of them, they usually move on. They're very persistent. Installing all the game cameras, security cameras, only changed how they approach my house. Shooting 4 shots after the first shadow figure on December 3rd is shooting at the juvenile standing behind my playhouse on December 26th didn't deter them one bit. I became concerned because her focus was on the children. I made a hard decision and took the kids out of school while they were still on Christmas break and relocated them and my wife to her mother's house in Arkansas until I can figure out a solution. When the wife and children were gone, the activity began to stop. So I brought the kids back to the house for the weekend. After them being gone for 2 weeks, they arrived on a Friday. Saturday night, I was reviewing the footage from the day, and lo and behold, there he is standing behind the same leaning tree again. This was very disturbing to me because they had to be close enough to my house to hear the children. At this time, my wife and children visit, but they are still in Arkansas. I installed numerous infrared lights. I've cut back the brush to the woods surrounding my house, and while my children are outside, I patrolled the tree line with a semi-automatic tactical shotgun loaded with black magic magnum slugs. Our situation is improving, but it's ongoing. I've uploaded some of my footage to my YouTube page, and IMGUR, I-M-G-U-R. I don't promote it or care if I have subscribers. It's just an easy way to share content with the people I've contacted for help and advice. My IMGUR, my I-M-G-U-R account is Livewire Audio Video 2 to review videos and photos mentioned in this email. My name is Mark Copeland. I don't care who knows. I even posted my property on Google Maps so others could see what my layout and location is in case of other sightings that might be close. Special thanks to my friend Joe for his help and kindness, a stranger who reached out to assist me and my family. I'm forever grateful. Thank you and God bless. Well, Mark, thank you so much for sharing that email with all of us, that all those encounters on your property with us. And I probably missed your email, who knows how long, since you sent it to me. And I'm pretty certain you are the man that Scott Carpenter and another man are helping out. And I hope everything gets better. What do you do? I mean, what do you do? You see these things, observing your children, attracted to your children. I don't give a shit what anybody says. If there's a 9-foot-tall human being, or even a 5-foot-tall human being, or a 9 or 8 or 6 or 3-foot-tall hairy being in my yard, concentrating their attention and focus and interest on my children, that's not good. I don't care how many of you people out there think you have a warm and fuzzy relationship with these beings. I really don't give a shit. It doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter if they are harmful or harmless. The fact of the matter is, if you're a parent and you have a family, you have a rural property, it doesn't matter who or what species of being it is. If you have beings somewhat tormenting your home nightly and daily and absolutely are attracted to observing your children from the bushes, really? You people, there's actually might be people out there that think that's okay. Well, it's not okay. It's not okay. No, nobody's saying go out there and kill all these things, but there has to be some responsible, appropriate answers and moves to addressing this grief that's going on with not only these people, there's numerous other people with these exact same experiences going on. Exactly the same. And who do they got to turn to? Where do they go? Who's going to help them? You know? You see what I'm getting at? Who is going to help them? And who is going to spread the honest word and facts about their experiences around that community, that province, that state, that county, whatever, to let other families know that there's potentially some weird beings that are going to take interest in their children from the bushes in the backyard, right? Think about it. But anyway, we are definitely still working on our, oh man, there's so many projects in the go right now. It's silly. But the main project that I mentioned, probably a couple months back is still being created. And it is a pile of work and a pile of money. So you're just going to have to be patient with that. And I'm just saying that right now to let you know it's still hammering forward. And it is going to help people like this family and others, without a doubt. It just takes a little time to pull it off. But in the meantime, I have a feeling this might be enough to share this evening, and I have many, many, many more to share with all of you. 4 people. These people are asking me to share their experiences with all of you, because these people are not only concerned for themselves. They know what they're seeing. They know it's fact and truth, and they're concerned about all of you out there who possibly are having these same experiences. All right? So that's what everybody's doing here. And it is time that we all speak out loud about this with confidence. And if anybody tries to engage you by saying, there's no proof, I don't believe it, I think you're a liar, doesn't matter what they say, you kick them to the curb. Don't even speak to them. Just kick them to the curb and push them aside. All they're going to do is stop you dead and be your anchor. They are the crab in the bucket. You ever heard of the crab in the bucket? It's when you're in the bucket with a bunch of crabs and you're trying to crawl up out of that bucket and they're all just pulling you down. That's all they are, is crabs in a bucket. I'm pretty sure there's a song about that. But right now, at this point of the game, I cannot stress enough to all of you to absolutely do not engage the people in our communities who don't want anything to do with this topic. They don't believe it. They want to call you a liar, belittle you, or call you names. It doesn't matter. Just don't engage with them and kick them to the side. It's that easy. And a lot of these
Hey, are y'all there? Oh, 3 viewers. I guess everyone shut down. Yeah, that program finally did lock up my computer again. So, and it took a minute. When my motherboard, when I have to hard restart it like that, it makes me go through the BIOS and then restart it again. So it took a while. Sorry about that. I hope they fix this software soon, because this is driving me insane. Always something, isn't there? Seems like every time I'm in this house, there's something wrong. When I was in Louisiana, everything was fine. Then I come here, and it's before it was the internet. Now it's the software. Anyway, I wanted to look at the. Is this the one? That Bigfoot looking in the window footage. Is this it? I think so.
All right. So
it was about here.
mass pushing.
Okay. Y'all there? I'm not seeing anything in chat. There we go. I wanted to look at this thing looking in the window.
My main dog came up missing. He was the one that alerted me that they were there close. I started with putting up 6 game cameras and a bait station. I never recorded anything related to what I was
That looks pretty damn good.
trying to record. On December 25th at about 9 p.m., I pulled my camera's live feed. I heard...
No, the eyes are closed. See how big the cheekbones are? I'm probably talking to myself now. But man, that is that's pretty damn good.
Heard bipedal footsteps running in short bursts, stopping and running again, and I caught a flash of eye shine on a camera so close
That does look like a cone head, though, doesn't it? Except there's no whites to the eyes. Hey, Amy. Yeah, my computer locked up pretty hard that time. But I looked at the bug tracking online for the software, and that's what everyone's been, the majority of the complaints have been like after you run it for a while, the memory leak gets so bad it locks up their computer. That's the first time it's happened to me, but before it was just randomly causing problems with my other software. But this is pretty damn...
9 p.m.
You see how you see the bony part next to the eyes? That's one of the things I've been talking about that you never see anyone do in some of their pictures. Doggone it.
I pulled my camera's live feed. I heard...
I mean, that's obviously... It's either somebody wearing makeup directly. I mean, because you can see their eyelids and everything. Or it's the real deal. See how big the cheekbones are? And the bone that comes up beside the eye? That's what I saw looking in the window.
Bipedal footsteps running in short
Except the nose looks really big. It looks too big.
bursts, stopping and running again, and I caught a flash of eye shine on a camera so...
And the head looks way too coned.
So close,
And you see how the forehead goes up? It could be. It is very well. I mean, it could be somebody in makeup, but nobody. I'm the only one that I know of that talks about how the cheekbones are so large to the side. So it would surprise me if they thought about that.
I could see the slots of the eyes, and I could see the pupils. I grabbed my gun, went outside with a flashlight, but didn't see anything.
Now, see, for eye shine, that doesn't look right to me because it's shining to the side here and then this side here. Like there would have to be lights from the sides. And eye shine comes from the open part, the black part. It doesn't come from like the whole eye. That would be like glass reflecting light.
The next night, on December 26th at approximately 7 p.m., I turned on my camera to the live feed. I saw a pair of eyes standing next to one of the pine trees in my front yard, near my kids' playhouse. Now, this is where it's going to get really interesting, and this is also when I realized just how much I've underestimated the intelligence and instant reaction these things possess.
So I'm not sure. I mean, this might be the footage where he said when he was pulling his gun from his holster, it went in front of his flashlight, maybe. But it looks like it's, see how the lines going across? It looks like it's a picture taken through a screen.
Big flashlight, a Kimber 45 Crimson. I head outside, shining my light, looking for the figure that I saw on camera. I walk between the two pine trees and my kids' playhouse, shining my light out into the pasture. I didn't see anything, so I went back inside. About 20 minutes later, I pulled up my camera's live feed and something had put an object in front of my camera. Grabbed the flashlight, grabbed the gun, and went back outside. I was standing approximately 15 feet from my kids' playhouse area, shining my light onto the playhouse. While keeping my flashlight in the playhouse, I reached down with my right hand to unholster my pistol, cocked the hammer, and proceeded to look around. I didn't see or hear anything again. I was reviewing my video footage that I recorded while I was outside after I went back in the house. Upon review of the video that I just recorded while I was outside, the camera that was located on the playhouse that picked up eye shine had picked up a shadow that was cast onto my horse cover by my flashlight. What I hadn't realized while I was outside is when I was focused on unholstering my pistol and cocking the hammer, this thing was hidden behind my playhouse. It stood up and relocated to another area of the playhouse for more cover in the few seconds that I was looking down at my gun.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting story. I'm going to have to look up this IMGUR. I think he's talking about some kind of a site, like where he's got his security cam footage posted.
My main dog came up missing.
Gotta tell you though,
He was
these
the one that
pictures out
alerted
the
me that they were
window,
there close. I started with putting
the
up
best
6 camera
pictures I've ever
cameras in the
seen
base
as far
station,
as
and
like
it
looking in the
recorded
window.
everything.
If there's no whites to the eyes, at least not visible anyway.
What I was trying to record. On December 25th at about 9 p.m., I pulled my camera's live feed. I heard
But the size of the nostril, even though the nose itself is like, it's almost W.C. Fields-ish, the size of the nostrils is correct. That's one thing that seems to be across the board described by people who see them as how big their nostrils are. I mean, some people report it as the nose itself, although this does have a big nose, but the nostrils themselves are always huge. One thing I'm not seeing is I would think with all that light hitting its face, unless this is like a juvenile, like, you know, a child almost, you know, there's no, the crags, the leatheriness of the skin is not there. I mean, this looks very smooth skinned.
bipedal footsteps running in short bursts, stopping and running again, and I caught a flash of eye shine on a camera so close.
In this picture here, the head looks too cone-shaped. Way too cone-shaped. I mean, even the forehead, look how the forehead goes up instead of back. I guess it could be just the angle. Like if it turned to the side, maybe it would look like it sloped back more. I don't know. But when I saw this first picture, I was like, ah, well, you know, you could do that with you know, a dummy or whatever. And then I saw the next one where his eyes were closed. I was like, oh, that's, that you can't fake with a dummy. Well, I mean, you can technically, but yeah, it just told me this is an actual being, either whether it be a human wearing makeup or whatever. I mean, this is 100% doable as far as a human. This could be a human. The forehead goes up instead of back, so it could be a human head. The eyes they look, as far as proportion, about the same spacing as humans. The cheekbones are bigger, the nose is bigger. I mean, that could be done with prosthetics. So the only reason I'm just see, the cone head there kind of blows it for me. I just don't think that their head is as cone shaped. Even if they had a sagittal, I mean, that's literally cone heads, like Dan Aykroyd, the cone head. That's way too huge. And the cheeks are good, but the forehead is not in proportion to the cheeks. The one I saw, it was like this part of the head, so it almost looks like the cheeks were built up on a person. You know what I'm saying? So like the eyes, the forehead are like this big, and then the cheeks are this, you know what I mean? And the nose. As if like if you were to take a prosthetic cheek and nose and attach it to a human, that right there. Because the one I saw looking in the window, the forehead, see how small the forehead looks? It didn't look like that. The brow ridge was very prominent. This one, it's not. You know, but then again, humans, I mean, look at Andre the Giant, and I guess there's another guy who really looks like a Neanderthal. I mean, people can have different features too. So, I'm really on the fence about this one. The best I've ever seen, but I'm very on the fence about it. And I don't even know, he hasn't said that these pictures are actually from this story. These could be some pictures he found on the internet and he's put them in here. I suspect they are from the story, but, you know, he hasn't said they are. They're damn good, though. Damn good job. If it's a hoax, it's a damn good job. A headband? A headband, huh? Let me have a look. Which picture? Any particular picture where it's very visible? Okay, well, I think I see what you're talking about. And now it's acting better now that I've restarted my computer. But there's something weird there. Like in this picture especially. You get a line that runs across here, which, I mean, that could be where the brow ridge, if it sets back. It's like I said, when we're looking straight forward, you know, everything flattens. Now that could be because there was obviously a change in lighting here, and it could be casting a shadow from the brow ridge right there, but it doesn't explain this up here. That is a little weird. That there, and then this coming down. It almost looks like, I mean, if a person had put something on their head, and this was like the edges of it, you know what I mean? Like a little headpiece. You see what I'm saying? And like I said, that cone head is way too big, in my opinion. So it's, and then that line, and then the line coming down, it could be somebody wearing a headpiece. I hate being negative about that because it was such good pictures, those first two. I mean, they didn't exactly match what I saw, but they were very close, like the cheekbones. First time I've ever seen it, other than what I saw and what I keep talking about. And then this one has to be in here, and this one just blows it out of the water for me because this is like Dan Aykroyd, you know. As far as 5G, well, hold on a second and I'll tell you. Because I actually taught radio wave propagation theory in the Army, so let me check something real quick. And I will tell you what my opinion is. Uh, just let me. That might be it. Let's see. Here we go. Just a second. What the hell? Where did my there we go. What? Tell me this thing's acting funny again. Why the hell does that keep... Hold on, I'm looking for one more piece of information here. Let's see. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon if you want to be notified. Sorry about that. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah, Teresa, that was my question. You know, it seems like those pictures through the window were part of the story, but like I said, he could have got those from some other source. He never did say. You gotta be kidding me. I gotta sign in to finish reading. Get the hell out of here. Come on. It's taking forever for these pages to load. Sorry about that there, Crypto. I just need to know one more thing and then I can tell you what I think. Alright, I'm not waiting for this page. I'll find another one. Yeah, where is it? What would that be? Yeah, okay. All right. Fry us with the radiation. No. Now just looking at the specs for 5G, and it's harmless. It's not going to hurt you. What'll hurt you is like 2.4 your Wi-Fi. It's on the same frequency as a microwave oven. So if you, that's why Wi-Fi has to be very low power. Because if you're like, I have a Wi-Fi radio right next to me, it'll cause headaches and stuff. Actually, sometimes I do notice it. But because it's on the same frequency as a microwave oven, a microwave acts on water molecules, so it can literally start to make you warm, heat you up. So if it was a high power, it could literally start to cook you. But the 5G, even though it does include, as far as its complete spectrum, 2.4, they probably aren't allowed to use 2.4 because of Wi-Fi usage. So even though their power output's a little higher than Wi-Fi, they're not on the frequency that is resonates with water. So it's pretty much harmless. Yeah, but you could do that if you're with your Wi-Fi, with your Wi-Fi router. If you could bump up the power to like say 10 watts, yeah, it would start to cook you. You would literally start to get hot. You'd start to cook just like a hot dog in the microwave oven. Now there's a frequency harmonic at 4.4 gigahertz, but it's the effect is lessened because it's a harmonic. and there's one at 1.2 as well. Anytime you double or half, there's a frequency harmonic, so you can cause radio interference. If you're on 1.2 gigahertz, you can cause interference with Wi-Fi. If you're at 4.8 gigahertz, you can cause interference with Wi-Fi because they're frequency harmonics of each other. Yeah, I don't think they're going to fry us. They need taxpayers. I wouldn't worry about it. And companies wouldn't be allowed to do it because the government would say, if anyone's going to fry our citizens, it's going to be us, not you. So I wouldn't worry about it. What ring you hear from time to time? Talking about here when I'm doing a show? Actually, who's anybody left here? I was still getting 9 people watching. I don't know. I have what you call it, where my ears like go all the time from shooting M16s when I was in the Army. I basically I couldn't hear out of this ear for 6 months at all because I blew it out. I was shooting my M16 in what they call Tunnel C, which is like a big concrete culvert, and some of the ranges, I only had shot Tunnel C once, and some of the ranges have them, and that's to keep you from shooting somebody else's target. So you can only see your target when you look through there. Well, you stick the end of when you raise it up to shoot, the culvert comes up, so the end of your weapon is inside. And when I was getting ready to shoot, I was putting my earplugs in, and I put this one in, and the guy said, "Ready, fire." And, he didn't give us enough time. He was in a hurry, I guess. So I pulled up my weapon and I pulled the trigger, not realizing that this was going to be quite loud inside that concrete culvert, and it blew out my eardrum. It was so loud. I mean, I was literally in some pretty serious pain for like the whole day. And then I couldn't hear anything in this ear for like 6 months, and now I have this whistling all the time. So I don't hear what ringing you're talking about in my ears, other than the ringing I've always had since I was in the Army. Hey, maybe the 5G might be a cure for coronavirus, but it ain't gonna cause it. Might be able to cook it right out of people. See if it has a resonant frequency different than a human, and you can just cook it. I'm waiting for my browser to reload. It's being really slow. Probably this damn memory leak is starting to mess with stuff again. All right, there we go. Now I can read my chat here instead of the 30-second delay. All right, who's still with me? Teresa. I think Amy's still there. I saw her a minute ago. Crypto, obviously. Who else is still here? Hey, Amy, I saw the thing you sent me about the hamsters. I didn't say it was a hamster. I said it looks like my hamster's feet, so I think it's some kind of rodent. And I was specifically talking about the front one. The front one looks a little different than the back one to me, and that's only because the knuckles are curled up. Well, yeah. But in what context are you talking about Wi-Fi throttling? Hold on, I hear voices. I'll leave those off. I don't really need them anyway. We're not listening to anything. I don't know what element 115 is. I remember something about... Is that artificial element or something that they were able to make some minuscule amount of or something? I forget what the hell it was about. Serious, I was hearing somebody talking. I don't hear it anymore. I heard it briefly when I took off the headphones, but then it stopped, so I don't know where it was coming from. It might have been my dog dreaming or something, and it just sounded like voices. Yeah, I hear that all the time. For the first couple of years I had it, it was like driving me insane. I would just sit back sometimes and go, oh, please, just 5 minutes, stop. You know, now I'm so used to it, I don't even, just ignore it. Yeah, 5G is just a radio. It's a radio frequency. It's no different than your FM radio, your, you know, AM radio, your Wi-Fi. I mean, any radio frequency turned up. A radio emission that is the most dangerous that's out there is actually radar, like they use at airports and stuff. I knew a guy, he was in the Navy, and he was standing up. He had to work on a radar mount. You know how the ships, you see they have those radars that spin around up on the mast and stuff, or on the top of the conning tower. He was up there fixing one, and somebody turned it on, and it jolted him like electricity. I mean, he was like, and he fell off the conning tower. Well, I mean, not like, woo, like it messed him up. Because they use a lot of power on radar. That's probably what they, you know, you've heard of them. Now they have a gun. The cops have a gun now that they can point it at your car, and it'll actually shut down the electrical system in your car, or even make you sick, probably, because it emits a high-powered radio wave. But the stuff we use for communications, like Wi-Fi, cell phones, it's the voltage, the power output is so low. At worst, like if you have your phone up, like some phones have Wi-Fi calling, like if it's connected to your Wi-Fi network and you have it to your ear, and let's say you're on a very long conversation for hours, you'll probably start getting a headache after a while, because even though it's low power, it still is having an effect on you. It's just nothing that's going to kill you or like give you cancer or anything. It's just going to like, probably give you a headache after a while. At least not according to the science I'm aware of. Now, sometime in the future, they may find out something different, but right now, nobody knows that it causes anything, and it doesn't seem to. I've been working with it for 30 years. I used to actually go into, I was in military intelligence, and I worked in a tactical system that had, devices to communicate with spy satellites and that. So we had an extremely powerful radio transmitter in the back of the van. We called it the van. It was actually like a semi-trailer in the back of it, and we had these massive steel doors that were this thick, and they had a screen in them because we couldn't shut it off, we'd suffocate. So they had a screen in them with honeycomb shapes, which stops radio signals from traveling. And but if we had a problem with the radio transmitter in the back, I'd go back there. I'd just open the door and go back, and we had two doors because you had to open one. You couldn't have them both open at the same time. So I would go out there, and the chick I was working with was always the sergeant in charge of the other side. She would always give me crap for going back there because the transmitter's strong enough that it would sterilize people, sterilize you. I'm like, I already had my kids. I'm done. I don't care. So I have this pretty powerful stuff back there, and it never did anything to me. That's like for 30 years I've been dealing with that kind of stuff. No, that's not Wi-Fi throttling. That's network throttling. They call it managed network services. That just means that they have a computer that monitors your usage, and then they can reduce. I used to do that because I used to run an internet company. So I owned my own wireless internet company. So I used to do that crap to people too. Whatever they paid me, I would just throttle their internet speed. You're not throttling the Wi-Fi itself. You're just throttling the information that's traveling across it. It's a whole different thing. But the ability to throttle Wi-Fi itself exists. Just nobody uses that. They just throttle the data. It's two different things. So, does anyone else have anything Bigfoot related I want to throw out there? Wait a minute, I haven't checked. I got nothing new on Discord. Oh, my Discord was shut down. I forgot. I restarted my computer. Oh, yes, I do have something new in here. What is it? Oh, well, yeah, thanks, Amy, for texting me to tell me I'm down. Yeah. Well, I mean, really, thanks. But yeah, I was completely down. I didn't even get your text because my computer was off. You're never going to. Crypto, you're never going to get a hold of a quantum computer. Well, I shouldn't say never. I mean, for all I know, that might be in 10 years. Instead of like PCs, Ryzen's, and Intels, we'll have quantum chips, maybe. Who knows? But I kind of doubt it. They're very expensive, and they're kind of useless for regular computing kind of stuff like we do now. The damn cat's doing something out there. Yeah, Wi-Fi extender. Yeah, I know what that is. It just boosts your signal. You don't. The only reason you need one is because most Wi-Fi routers aren't very strong. They're very weak. Like I was just telling Crypto, usually it's a very weak signal on them. But you can get some like the ones I use. I don't want to grab that one. Here's one here. I just have Wi-Fi radios hanging around. I've got like $10,000 worth of them here. This one here is a very small, right? This is more powerful than anything you have in your house. This thing here, I used to have it strapped to the back of my truck. I've got the antenna off of it. It has an antenna that sticks up here, you know. And I used to have this strapped to the ladder rack on my truck. And my Wi-Fi network covered 500 square miles. And I could drive around in my truck, and I had the internet no matter where I was. Now, this was way back when, like, the best you got on was like 1G on your cell phone. You could send, it was hardly enough to even check your email. I could actually watch YouTube from my truck as I was driving around in the country, because this thing here had a range of about 15 miles. Now, the Wi-Fi that you normally have in your house, you're lucky if you get 100 yards or 100 feet, really, out of it. And it depends on walls and that kind of thing. But this thing here was two different antennas. I got one that's 7 dB. That one will go about 3 to 5 miles. And then I have a 9 dB, which technically was illegal, but because it put out too much power. But that thing would give me 15 miles. So a Wi-Fi extender is basically like having something like this, you know. It's just, and then you set it up as a repeater where it joins your network, and then it like the one I'm using right now for my computer. My computer doesn't have Wi-Fi, so I've actually had to hook another different type of antenna, but you know, like this. Only this one's here is omnidirectional. That one's directional, and hook it up to my computer. And it's in bridge mode, so it actually connects to the Wi-Fi, but my computer is actually what's talking. That thing's doing nothing. It's just converting basically Ethernet, which is a wired protocol, to Wi-Fi for my computer, but it doesn't actually do anything other than that, and it just bridges it right through. That's kind of what Wi-Fi extenders do. You can connect to this one, and this one's also connected to that one. And it just lets you bridge right through with increasing your power output or the distance or whatever, you know, extending your Wi-Fi. Why are you, Teresa, you need a Wi-Fi extender? Is that what you're talking about? No, and we can't find a Bigfoot with a supercomputer. Well, a supercomputer or a quantum computer? Well, you can turn any emitted radio wave into a weapon if you make it powerful enough and direct it enough. You know, it's going to have some kind of effect on you. Slowing what down? You went from talking about a Wi-Fi extender to, yeah, slowing it down. Because I asked you if you needed a Wi-Fi extender, I think. So what are you saying? That they're slowing your Wi-Fi down so you want to get an extender? Is that what you're saying? Man, my preview's way behind. It's just now getting to where I picked that radio up. I'm not getting any chat. Is everyone sleeping? That's weird. Huh. All right, folks. Everyone's dropping off and it's getting late, so I guess I'm going to hit it. So probably not going to do this every night, but I'm going to try to do them quite frequently. So watch for your... Did y'all get your notification today? Make sure you hit the thumbs up too, because YouTube doesn't... You don't make crap unless you get like bunches and bunches of thumbs up and stuff. You've been chatting? I didn't see your chat in here. Are you chatting like out of band, like in Discord or something? Well, not in my Discord anyway, but... So you didn't get a notification. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the notifications. They do not seem to be getting to anybody. Because I posted this... When did I post it? I posted it at 10 o'clock in the morning. So you should have been notified like way early about this. Oh, you did? Okay. All right. So you got the notification at 10 o'clock or just right when I started the show? Because you should have got a notification both times. You should have got it when I scheduled it to let you know it was scheduled, and then again when I started it. That's the way it's supposed to work. Did you get both of them or just the one when I started the show? Yeah, do you have the bell and then there's like 3 options. You have to select the one that says all, or what the hell does it say? See if I can find somebody to subscribe to and see what it is. Here's one. I don't remember who this dude is. Yeah, it says all, personalized, or none. I don't know what does personalized do? Doesn't do anything. I usually do all, and I think you have to do all in order to get the notifications when I actually schedule a show. So yep. Good night, Teresa. All right, people. I'm out of here. So until the next time. Y'all take it easy. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon if you want to be notified of any future shows. Feel free to leave comments down below, and please smash that thumbs up. It helps the show out.